Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me for You Are a New You. Today's show is dedicated to foster and adoptive parents. Most of you know, being in the foster care system is not a great place to be at all. I am very fortunate because I am one of those individuals that was able to beat the odds per se, and I give all the credit to all of the people that have helped me along the way, including my foster parents who I didn't meet until I was 18 years old. Yes, 18 years old. Not too long ago, I had the opportunity to go to an event and speak on behalf of foster children and family to kind of help the organization raise funds and so forth. And I met up with so many different people that were just inspired and just touched by my story. And I really don't think of all of that, with regards to my story, my experience, and what I went through. But I'm humbled. I'm grateful that they are basically inspired and enlightened to really learn more about how they can help those in need within the foster care system. No matter what city, what county, what state, wherever you are at, there's always something for you to do to really get involved. But today I really wanted to say thank you to all the foster parents out there, all the adoptive parents out there. A lot of people don't understand it is not easy to be a parent, let alone a foster parent caring for a child that is not your child or an adoptive parent. It is not easy at all. And I really do appreciate everything that you all do, the time you take out your days and your nights to see after, the children or the child. I really appreciate it, and I want to tell you all as much as possible, don't give up on them. Continue to fight for them. By the time I reached my foster parents' house at the age of 18, I was bused from the city to the county. It's about 45, 50 minutes, if not an hour or so away, depending on traffic from the city to the county with the school that I was going to. So by the time I made it to my foster parents' house, a stable environment, healthy environment, just cohesive environment with regards to us really working together as a family. Let's just say my attendance was horrible, my grades were very poor, and I had been suspended so many different times, and I didn't care about school. And my principal knew that, my teachers knew that, and they kind of saw this boy, grow up, grade after grade, year after year, having a tough, really horrible time, going through school, because they knew deep down on the inside that he was dealing with some tough issues at home. But it was very little that they could do because, they only see me for a certain amount of time throughout the day, and then I go home and then I come back and repeat the same events all over again. But my foster parents, Amy and Tim, they are very special people, very special people. I said I wasn't going to do this. But they're very special people because they have two sons already, Mike and Brian, my foster brothers. I love them dearly. I remember sitting in class when I was 18 years old, senior in high school. Just turned 18, by the way. But I'm sitting in class, and I remember it was around Christmas time, and we were singing about a homeless lady in class, and Mike, my best friend, my foster brother, was sitting next to me. And I wasn't in the mood. I didn't want to sing. I just didn't want to hear anything about, giving or caring or loving. And it was the Christmas season. Christmas concert was getting ready to come up. And long story short, and he asked me, what's wrong? And I explained to him what was wrong. What had actually happened was the night before, the foster home that I was in, you didn't have a key. You had to wait on the front porch in order to get into the house. You couldn't get in until they were actually there. So by the time I got out of school, I had to go to work, and then when I got off work, I had to wait till they got home so I can get into the house. Well, by the time they got there, I don't know, I guess they were frustrated and mad because of several events, I guess, that transpired throughout their day. They kind of took it out on me, and one thing I know, it went from, hey, you need to clean up, you need to do this, you need to do that, when do you get paid, all these questions. It went from that to, you need to call your caseworker, and, this isn't working out, and, we need to see if we can get you back with your family, and you need to find you another place to go, and all these different things. And obviously, that's devastating news that one would have to just change their environment, their home. So by the time the next day came, like I said, I'm sitting in class, and I just wasn't really even in the mood. Well, Mike actually, saw that. He saw that, and he asked the teacher if we could go into the office so that he can call his parents. I didn't know what he was doing, but when he went into the office, and I went with him to call his parents, he actually got his mom on the phone, and his mom, professional, work in the workplace or what have you, she's at work. So when he calls, she's like, okay, hey, Mike, what's up? Are you in trouble again? He's like, no, I'm not in trouble. And then, she's like, okay, well, what's going on? So then he just explains, well, Bobby, the guy, you see him sometime when you and Dad come to the Christmas concerts or what have you. Well, he's getting put out of his house. He needed to place his day, this, that, and the other. So his mom was like, okay. So I'm in the background the whole time. I'm saying, okay, tell her I'm black, tell her I'm black, tell her I'm black. Because you got to understand, Mike is a different race. He's Caucasian. I'm African American. The household I grew up in, let's just say, was just totally not approvable of. It wasn't okay, should I say, if you talk to or if you jive well with the opposite race. So I'm in the background while he's on the phone with his mom, and I'm afraid, and I'm like, as soon as she hear that, I'm black, she's gonna say no. She's gonna say, I don't want him in my home, and Mike, what are you thinking, or what have you. And I'm literally in the background saying, tell her I'm black, tell her I'm black, tell her I'm black. And she yells out, I heard that, and I was like, okay, so obviously this means I can't come. She said, I heard that. And Mike was like, yeah. And she said, well, what does that have to do with anything? And I was like, nothing. She said, okay, well, I'll see you when you guys get home from school. And I was like, okay. So that was the first sign that really everything was going to be okay. And I was really learning quickly that people aren't as bad as you really, think they are. Some of the things you were taught when you were younger, they're not as bad as one would teach those to believe. Long story short, I get to their house. They take me down to the foster home. My bags and stuff are sitting on the porch, and I'll never forget it. My foster brother runs in the house with me. He helps me grab the rest of my items, and he asks, is there anything else? And the foster parent is yelling in the background, that's it, I bagged it all up, it's on the porch, take it, go. He has to go, and I've already called his caseworker and told him that, he's leaving. You hear all these things in the background, and I'm crying. Mike is like, hey man, come on, just, we'll get as much as we can and we'll just go. Grab my trash bag with my clothes in it, took it out there to the house, and I can honestly say that was the first night that I actually went to sleep. That was the first night that I actually got some rest. Anyway, long story short, we woke up, went to school the next day. They didn't talk to me when we got there that night. They didn't want to hash out anything or want me to explain anything. They just wanted me to just rest. The next morning, they got us up for school, took us to school. Amy and Tim, walked in. First thing they wanted to do is talk to the principal, so they sent me, Mike, Brian on the class, and man, they had to be there almost the whole day talking to my principal on my behalf. I'm explaining this because I think it's important that people understand that it takes special kind of people to be foster parents or adoptive parents. it just can't be anybody. You have to have a heart to do these kinds of things. You have to have a heart to really, hold that kind of place or value for somebody else's life. I'm just grateful that they did. But long story short, they went in, they were talking with the principals, my teachers throughout the day, and all I know is I got called in at the end of the day. My principal looked me in the face and she said, you know this lady, you know this man? And I'm like, yeah. And she's like, well, I hear you're staying with him now. And I'm like, yeah. And she said, okay, well, something great must be happening here, because we're going to erase all of the negatives off your, attendance, record. We're not going to put you in detention anymore. We're going to go ahead and get you in summer school. We're going to get you some extra counseling and help, and we're going to make sure that you graduate. Now I'm a senior in high school, so I'm thinking, okay, wow. But at the same time, too, I'm a foster child, so there are some trust issues. So I'm saying to myself in the back of my mind, heard it all before. So long story short, we're on the way home. Mike is driving home, and he looks over to me. He gets to the house. He said, well, I can tell you right now, they're going to want to have a family meeting. And I was like, okay. But I'm thinking to myself, well, what is a family meeting? Anyway, long story short, we get halfway down the street. He slows the car down. He says, Bobby, he looks me in the eye. He says, it's very simple when it comes to living in our house, when it comes to being a part of our family. He said, don't lie. He said, always tell the truth. And he said, just be yourself. And I said, okay. I said, cool. Don't lie. Always tell the truth. Always be yourself. I said, okay. Got it. So I walked in, and I'm expecting them to tell me, you got to work. We want the check. We want to make sure that you don't have company over at this time, that time, the whole nine. All they said to me was this: we love you. We're glad that you're here. Always be honest with us. We'll always be honest with you. If working is going to interfere with your education, we don't want you to work. And your grades are more important than anything. You will graduate this year. Do you know from that day forward, Amy and Tim worked with me night and day to make sure that I got the help that I needed. And I am very grateful for that, because I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for their dedication and their commitment. I really do appreciate that. And I say that to say this: when I look back on things, I believe in something that's called divine providence. And that simply just means that obviously everything happens for a reason, and God places you at different places and points and times in your life where He wants you to be, so He can give you what you need in order to make it on to the next step. And my foster parents, Amy and Tim, they were there for me. Mike and Brian were there for me, and still today they are still there for me. And I just want to say to you guys, if you are a foster or an adoptive parent, please don't give up on your foster child or your foster children, or your adopted child or your adopted children. Don't give up on them. Hang in there. Love them. Stay committed. Do what you can to really help and support them, and believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that everything's going to be okay. I would not be the person I am today if it wasn't for them. It's important for them to understand that it's a serious decision, but at the same time, the rewards are just great. My apologies. I got so caught up in expressing my story, I forgot to give you the outcome. Because of my foster parents' love and their support, their commitment and their dedication to my life, I was able to graduate from high school. I was able to be the first African American male to give the baccalaureate speech for my graduating class. I went on and graduated with my bachelor's degree, and then went on to get my master's degree. Today I am an instructor at a community college and a university, and I own my own production business. And so if you would have asked me, 10 years ago, could I have seen any of this happen, I would have told you no. But I honestly and truly from my heart can only give credit first to God, and then obviously to all of those people, including my foster parent, that have loved me, prayed for me, supported me, and really committed to actually being part of the change that they would like to see and that I wanted to see when it comes to my life. And because of that, I am truly grateful. If you're concerned, if you want to know more about becoming a foster parent or an adoptive parent, check with your local CPS services, or check with the Foster and Adoptive Care Coalition, or if you have one of those organizations there, Jim Casey Foundation, Annie E. Casey Foundation, any kind of orphanage foundation, any kind of child protective services foundation. Do what you can to really help those that are in need and give them back, and give them the opportunity and the chance that I did and I had to make themselves a great success. They can't do it without you. So to all the foster and adoptive parents, I appreciate everything you do and everything that you will continue to do to help those in need. Thank you.